Vulcan to the Sky Trust. This, the Avro Vulcan B2. There, a first chance to hear the noise of the aircraft's four Rolls-Royce Bristol Olympus 202 turbojet engines of over 16,000 pounds of thrust each. 136 of these aircraft, including the prototypes, were built. Now only one is flying, and as you may have read or seen recently, it's in its last display season because XH558 will sadly be grounded at the end of this year. There will never, I'm sure, be another Vulcan in flying condition once that happens. Slower orbit this time. You can see the air brakes have been deployed. Of course, as part of Britain's nuclear deterrent during the Cold War that the Vulcan initially operated. The aircraft came into RAF service in 1956, and alongside the Handley Page Victor and the Vickers Valiant, it formed what was known as the V-Force. For the Vulcan in the strike role, there was one last hurrah to come. Of course, the day had never come when during the Cold War it was called upon to perform the nuclear or indeed conventional strike role. But the Vulcans were called to arms one last time in 1982 in the Falklands War. Was the code name applied to the raids undertaken by the Vulcans, supported by Victor tankers, out in the South Atlantic. The most famous of those, surely that on the 30th of April 1982, when the Vulcan serial XM607, today preserved outside at RAF Waddington, was supported by no fewer than 11 Victors in a remarkable mission whereby it hit the runway at Port Stanley Airfield, the centre line that is, with one bomb, and the edge of the runway with another, making it unusable for Argentine fast jets. At that time it was the longest bombing raid in history, a round trip of over 7,700 miles. His co-captain today is Bill Perrins, who took part in 4 of the Black Buck raids. today's crew is the Air Electronics Officer, Phil Davies. The story of how XH558, this aircraft, was returned to flight is truly a remarkable one. I know we've used that term in recognition of a number of aircraft today, but it's certainly very apposite in relation to the Vulcan. This was the first ever Vulcan B2 to enter RAF service. It's 55 years old this year. It made its maiden flight on the 25th of May 1960. And in RAF service with the Vulcan display flight, it gave its final displays, or so it was thought, at the end of the 1992 season, and made its final flight into Cleethorpes in early 1993. Many people said it could never happen, that it would return to the skies, but many people, notably David Walton, who bought the aircraft and all of its available spares, and Dr. Robert Fleming of Vulcan to the Sky, thought otherwise. This is the result of its final pass. A suitably steep wing over to finish. It's still a very expensive undertaking, of course, to keep the aircraft in the air, even to the end of this, its final display season. It's the three technical authority companies, as they're known, that have brought about this change of circumstances, as it were. They have decided to cease their support at the end of the 2015 season, and without that support, under the Civil Aviation Authority's regulations, the Vulcan will therefore be prohibited from flying